just need it for it to end.
Okay, Trent, thank you. That's absolutely meaningless. I'm glad we brought you. Really,
I love
will you
Jean
not be
so
able to
much.
work in the
She's
major
so
crimes
much.
unit? Is he a cretin now? I want to know that.
He's not a cretin, and he is able to do work. If not in his previous leadership role, then as a line detective.
What now? Fuck all of you. I don't want to be in your unit. He's wrong. I'm too far gone for work. Line detective is good for now. I'm ready to leave again.
No one even mentioned that. I misphrased my question. It should have been, is he able to put his clothes on and use the body? Or do we need to get him on a disability pension?
They can keep that pension. You're rock solid. You can put your clothes on hard.
What now?
Now nothing. Now we're just going to stand here.
Really?
No, now we discuss that. What the fuck did you do to a motor carriage? Why is it there, Harry?
Hold on. In the ocean, feign ignorance. It was stolen by Jacob. What? That wasn't me. It was stolen by traffic hooligans. I drove into the ocean when I was drunk. I thought the killer would be underwater. He wasn't. The time had come. Tequila sunset.
Ha ha ha. Ho ho ho. Tequila sunset. Not sunrise because you're almost dead. So funny, Harry. Thank you for fucking me. Thank you for destroying 45,000 real of police property that's coming out of my payslip. You know that, right? You're gonna get fired, and I'm gonna pay till I die. It doesn't matter. Your badge, Harry. Show me your badge.
Wait, my badge? I got my badge right here. I lost it. I haven't found it yet. What do I have? What I do have is this armor. No, show me my
In a
badge.
rush to demonstrate your badge, your eager fingers can't sustain a grip on the smooth plastic.
Are you
Badge
serious?
slips out of your hand. You juggle the badge for a second, unsuccessfully, and it lands on the ground. Some 2
Why is this a check right
He
now?
found it. He found it, Jean. It's his badge.
The patrol officer picks it up and gives it back to
And
you.
your gun.
This man stares at you
As if
unimpressed.
having your badge and gun are natural states, not achievement. What is it with all these material objects?
Gun, badge, car, these are all things. Things don't matter. People do. I upgraded my gun to a rifle. My gun is right here.
He has it. And he didn't drop it. You're drunk like a bum, Harry. Put that thing away before you kill someone.
I didn't lose my gun. I have my gun. So does it even matter that I found my gun? I quit drinking forever. It's only me in this boring hellhole now. So what? I've had little... I quit drinking.
I don't buy it. Why do you smell like a corpse then, huh?
Because I touched a corpse.
He's wounded. It's been a long week, and he's
Oh, thank you.
an actual corpse.
No idea what you're smelling. I watched the death off. Yeah, I've handled an actual corpse. Yeah, it's been a bad week. Sorry, I smell bad. I handled an actual corpse. None of this matters. My odor situation is meaningless compared to what I was. Yeah, I handled a
don't
corpse.
believe you. You're drunk. You let a suspect escape, a certain classier, because you were too drunk to assess a flight risk.
We've read the reports, Harry. Lieutenant Kitsuragis. We know.
Closet? She was just some kind of spy from the Occident, specially trained. Not taking her in was the right thing to do. She gave a vital clue that led us to the island. Okay, I got duped there. She pulled one on me. Yeah, I let her go as an act of mercy. That's just a small detail in a huge case that you know nothing about. That doesn't matter. None of it does. We are looking at the oxygen holocaust times a quadrillion. I have come to know the final fate of man in the universe. I kind of want to commit to the apocalypse cop. But no, it was the right thing to do.
Oh, well. If she was nice. I'm not even gonna get into the other suspect, who also escaped. Yeah, Ruby something. Or the fact that you very likely sold your gun for booze. That's peanuts. That's nothing. That's a humorous anecdote. Compared to the 6 people who were gunned down, the streets are literally red with blood, Harry. It was fucking mass murder.
He did everything he could. We did everything we could. The company hired and vetted mercenaries. Lieutenant Dubois got between them and the locals.
Interrupts him.
He did so at considerable risk to his own life. He was shot and survived only because of his armor. We stopped an execution, not a negotiation. The loss of life was minimal compared to what it could have been.
Yeah, what he said. I also solved the case. It solved all of it. Yeah, it was a massacre. We got wiped. Where the hell were you? Firefight is a trivial matter compared to the greatest discovery of the century. Yeah, we solved all the case.
Detective, it's better if I do that.
Oh.
It's so much better if he does this. A
Yeah.
million times better.
Thank you for the input, Lieutenant Kitsuragi. I didn't mean to suggest you didn't handle the situation.
He brushed his fair hand of hair out of his eye and
He thinks
coughs.
of apologizing, but decides against it.
You've spent the week with him on this case. What is your take?
On the case?
On Lieutenant Geoffrey Dubois.
Well, the drinking, the lost gun, also losing his badge, that's all true. And he's been drinking on the job.
The
Yeah.
man sighs deeply.
Then there's the apocalypse thing. At first I thought
Yeah.
it was a joke, but it's not. He actually thinks the world is about to end, in a bloodletting or gloaming. We're about to become vapor, even. It's worrying, especially considering his political views. Detective Dubois is, as you may know, a Mazovian social economist.
I
He
love that I'm
wants to
getting
liquidate
called
the
out for
ruling
this.
class, which, again, for a police officer, is a little odd.
You should yell something.
Why is Rhetoric telling me to do that? I am a policeman of the state to come. That's not a good
Yes,
idea.
Let's let the big boys talk.
Yeah.
And then there's the motor carriage in the sea, and the drugs, of course. Some kind of anti-radiation drug he uses to induce visions.
Which is cool.
But despite all this, he is a great detective. One of the best I have seen, in fact. He can talk human beings into telling him everything. And he doesn't stop. In all the time I've spent with him, he has not once stopped pursuing leads, however far-fetched and tangential. He is tireless, madly driven. Well, except that one time when he stopped to sing karaoke, which, by the way, I have to disagree with you, Mr.
Oh!
was a valiant effort. He really sang his heart out.
Okay, he did something.
Oh my god! I like how I get called out for doing
Other
something
than
with
that one
karaoke.
time, he has tirelessly worked on the case, and he solved it. We have a confession, a murder weapon, and the perpetrator, locked on the island right now, awaiting transportation. He apprehended a revolutionary brigade who stayed hidden for 50 years, ever since the revolution, who's probably committed other murders over those years. Oh, and he also discovered a new species,
Thank you.
A new species.
a colossal stick insect. It was on the island, camouflaged as the reeds. It unfolded from the reeds. I think we may be dealing with the Insulindian phasmid.
He takes out the photo of the phasmid and shows it to the officers across the yard. The wind blows, flapping the glossy rectangle in his hand. You hear gasps beneath the howling of the wind.
As you can see, it's about 3 meters tall. In fact, we think it may be the largest land invertebrate ever discovered.
I don't know. Boom shakalaka, motherfucker. So, as you can see, I'm a pretty okay detective and an absolutely giant communist.
Fucking hell. Is this somehow connected to the case?
Ignores you still staring at the phasmid.
Detective?
Boom, boom, boom. Yes, I believe the pheromone it emits may be responsible for the killer's mental
The
degradation.
old man was not aware of the phasmid's presence. Exhibiting a strange, atypical dementia, he fell into a stupor after its appearance. He became near catatonic.
So it is connected.
I must say, this is absolutely extraordinary. I don't even have words for it.
Pointing at the
Yes.
photo.
It really does make it hard to fire the drunk.
His tired eyes follow the photo as the lieutenant puts it
This is a
away.
very, very sad man who has just seen something that's made him forget his sadness.
That's a wonderful line.
Now you make your case. Now is the time. Now or never.
I also started a nightclub and a drug lab and a church. Also, the phasmid was female. The reeds are its nest. The killer, Leonovich Dross, we have a strong motive for him. The previous head of the DeBard's Union was assassinated by our killer. I also fixed the strike situation. There was a dead man on the boardwalk, a missing person I found. I also oh my god, this is everything. Okay, let's start from the top then. I also start. Oh, maybe not. Okay. I confiscated drugs. There was a dead man.
Yes. Fallen through a gap in a boardwalk. Drunk.
How did you know I found
The
him?
body was transported to Precinct 41, our morgue. I had Tilbrook and Mullins take care of funeral arrangements and family stuff.
You're not the only cop in the world, Harry. This all comes back to us.
Still, good work with the missing person, detective.
It's still a point for you. No denying it.
I also looked into the mystery of the Doom commercial area.
I don't know what a Doom commercial area is.
Rue Saint Ghislain 10, a commercial building where all the businesses go bankrupt. I looked into it. Curse turned out to be a possibly interplanetical part of my larger investigation into Martinez stuff. Yeah, let's do
Why?
that one.
That's not what you were supposed to do here.
There was a possible witness in there, and it was close to the crime scene. He was just chasing a lead and ended up advising a local shopkeeper. It was okay.
Of course. Call it community outreach, right?
Dodged a bullet there. For a moment, it seemed like you were just wasting time.
Confiscated
Who's
drugs.
Kuno?
You don't want to know.
You're right, Lieutenant. I don't. You snorted the drugs, I know you did. It's alright. I mean, at this point, anything is but the drink.
I also fixed the strike.
How? It seems to be ongoing. I see red banners on the gates.
He didn't quite solve it. He cross-pollinated information between the company rep and Everhart, until the rep came to see that the Union desires war, at which point Mrs. Messier decided to...
Shrugs.
And clear the terminal.
It was an accident. I did it for the World Revolution. I just told some people some things. No big deal. Things are calmer now. I masterminded a solution to an unsolvable problem.
Sounds like you got played, Harry. Because you were off your tits on Al Ghul.
Hey, how do you know about Al
It
Ghul?
doesn't matter how I know about Al Ghul. What matters is you're Everclear's messenger now. A union man, as he calls it. He's a mob boss, did you know?
It's not quite like that. The move allowed us to stabilize things here. It was not bad for Martinez, and we don't owe anyone anything.
Okay.
Slow down.
Silence. Good. The man doesn't know what to say.
The previous head of the Union was
This
also
is a
assassinated.
conversation for when we are no longer out in the open. In Martinez, where Everhart and Edgar Clare have ears everywhere.
Lieutenant lowers his voice just a
And
little.
eyes, too. Your return from the island must not have gone unnoticed.
Understood, of course.
But a case against Everard would be big.
I would prefer not to partake in anything union-related for political neutrality.
The killer Lilyanovich Draw says that we have a strong motive for him.
Lilyanovich. A revolutionary matronym. The
Matronym?
custom started in Grad, where they have patronyms. Krasovich, Lasovich, etc. The revolutionaries saw this as a chauvinist atavism, so they used matronyms, derived from the mother's name instead.
Huh.
This man's mother was Lilian. His Lilian's son, Lilyanovich. The custom was overturned after the revolution failed, but not before it made it to Revachol.
So, it is what a soldier of the ICM would be called.
Yeah.
Thank you, Trant. Thank you for that piece of cultural theory. You said you have a motive?
Of course, excuse me, I just thought it was noteworthy.
He killed the mercenary in an act of jealousy. He killed the mercenary hoping to start a war between the company and the Union. He killed him in an act of rage induced by the phasmid's semiochemicals. He killed the mercenary in an act of jealousy.
I thought this Lilyanovich was an old man. To have been hiding for 50 years. Like 70-something.
A strange psychosexual fixation, aggravated possibly by proximity to the phasmid and its chemicals. He himself gave a political reason, said he had killed an enemy combatant.
Yeah.
Also, we have ballistics from the gun, matching the bullet found in the dead mercenary's head, and 2 officers on the scene that Mr. Dross confessed to.
It's a clean win.
Oh, it's way more than that.
Yeah.
Way more.
It's more than that. A perfect folding mechanism like the phasmid. It's way more than that. It will win me Dora back. We're not doing that. It's my masterpiece. They'll teach this in cop school. I did all I could. Every second was a struggle. I'm still not completely satisfied with it. No, it's a perfect folding mechanism.
Perfect folding mechanism. Get over yourself, Harry. I can still smell the booze on the wind.
God damn it. Doesn't it ever leave? It is there. Like in your bones. or
Yeah, so you don't get any of the alcohol stuff where they give you this much shit for it if you've internalized Wasteland of Reality, because that's what makes you sober.
It will pass in time.
Also, the phasmid was female. The reeds are its nest.
Female? What makes you think so?
You had to see it. It had the subdued colors of a female, and the nesting behavior too, I think.
It was definitely female.
Incredible. Were there eggs in the nest?
Not as far as I could see. There were other things there, though.
Turns to
It's
you.
interesting time. Forget about the rest.
It had gathered items.
Actually, you know, this would indicate it was a male. This is far from anything in my field, but I think such nests are called bowers. They are for attracting mates.
Bowers are built by males of the species who can't afford colorful mating displays physically. This one was plain colored.
It could have been a male,
Must be
actually.
robust if it can move a helmet with its limbs.
He trails off, lost in thought. I think it reproduces by parthenogenesis.
As in cloning itself? What makes you think so?
It told me. Observation.
Well, then it wouldn't matter if it's a male or female. The Bower would just be rudimentary behavior from before the parthenogenetic mutation.
That makes sense, yes.
Very interesting. Such organisms are extremely vulnerable to disease. A single strain of bacteria could wipe out the whole species. We're probably looking at conservation efforts here.
He looks around at the coast. That's interesting. I think it emits a chemical that makes it look even more like the weeds.
Yes. That would be a chiromone, a pheromone that's seemingly beneficial to the host. It usually stimulates the affected nervous system. Not a human's, of course, but perhaps a predator's?
The perpetrator seemed intoxicated somehow, like an addict. It's just a hunch.
There are species of bees that, under the influence of chiromones, take wasp larvae to their hives. Ants do the same with aphids, thinking they're... Do you think this is how it stayed hidden?
Nothing is off the table. But I want to stress this. The find does not have to be connected to the case. The case is 100% prosecutable, without any chiromones.
Of course, Lieutenant. Of course. We should treat the case and the phasmid as completely separate from each other. People are not going to...
He shakes his
They're
head.
not going to go for this speculation in the constabulary.
It had mandibles that looked like hair, and it was completely white on the inside.
Yes, but also red-colored, beige and brown, a little green on the outside. After unfolding from a single stalk, it still retained parts that looked like reed tufts on its limbs.
Incredible. The PR value of this is exceptional. Carp discovers new species. Maybe even discovers the Insulindian phasmid. No, that's too much.
This would really help with some of the problems we've been having.
Absolutely, this is great.
Yeah.
This does not say vigilante murderers to me at all. This says science, news, human interest. You know, it's a really good thing you have that photo.
Without it,
He shakes his
You're
head.
doing good here. Perhaps only for a moment, but still. Quit while you're ahead? Or no?
I also started a nightclub.
Actually, you didn't.
What do you
I
mean?
told them a police raid will sweep the church in 2 days, which, by the way, it will. If they have any brains, they won't be producing in there.
Wait, when did you do
when
this?
we're out.
Why?
Because I'm a police detective, and manufacturing drugs is illegal.
wait. You tried to set up a drug lab?
No, he just let some youth set up a club in the church. They thought they could produce in there. They won't. The building was abandoned. It was an okay idea. Better than having them out on the ice.
That's fair. So what do you say? Gonna take this hot piece of shit back?
I don't want to, but you discovered a new species and solved the murder.
Shrugs.
So I have to. Jude,
Anything that ends the trial is okay with me.
A quick nod.
The public relations potential of this is too valuable to let go.
okay. We have vehicles in the square, and the perpetrator needs to be taken into custody. Let's go.
Now you will finally get to know who you are.
Wait, I have a few questions before we go about who
The
I
man
am.
looks westward, impatiently, jingling his car keys in his pocket.
Hold on, now I wanna look. No tasks. Task empty. Oh, does it not let... Wait. It doesn't let me come up until it comes... Oh. Who am I?
Who are you? You're a gym teacher, Harry.
What?
Well, obviously you're not a gym teacher anymore, but
But
Before
before...
you were a cop, you were a gym teacher in Coron. It's getting really cold outside. Should we maybe...
That does explain a lot. No way, I was a revelator learned in the ancient
You
art.
haven't told us about that. You just told us about being a gym teacher.
That does explain a lot.
Harry, it explains everything.
Ah!
The running around, the jumping, the bicep girth, your inexplicable facial hair,
The collection of fallen sportswear I've
your
amassed.
moves on the church floor, which honestly were just jump aerobics, your use of the word graffito.
The incredible stamina output.
Thank you, Endurance.
Also, this guy. Just everything about this.
When was this? When was it? A gym
in your
teacher?
20s or late 20s. You've really let yourself go since then.
You said in Curran I was a gym teacher?
Yes, you taught gym in Cool. I believe that's the term. Taught gym at a high school. You were a high school gym teacher.
The smell of sweat and glue, the worn floorboards. Kourou is just east of Jamrock. It was a short walk every morning to the baseball field or the sports building.
I can just throw some more points and shit since we're at the very end. Hold on. What do we want to slap in here? There you go, visual. All right.
High school. Harry, your goings on with Kuno, Andre, Assel, the whole thing on the ice. That's why you are so juvie.
Why did I join the RCM
The
then?
regular. You found some chick. She inspired you to fight the big fight. Be more than you are. All that.
You, every morning, walking from Voyager Road to teach gym. She, leaving for the academy with her spring coat on. The air filled with the smell of smoke and raspberries and incredible hope. An ocean full of hope.
Okay, I see now.
I knew it. I knew no normal human being can run like that.
I love that Kim's
He's
so
an honest-to-God
excited.
gym teacher.
Why am I like this?
It's not a mystery. Some chick fucked you over. Also, you were drunk.
You really went with it too. Really maximized the damage.
Was she called Dora Dubois?
Dubois? It was Dora Engelund, I think. You've said her name, but you weren't married. You were engaged.
Wait, Dora England?
Something like that. Half Vazan.
Vasa is where beautifully and impossibly blonde people.
Huh. So we weren't even
No
married?
one is married anymore. This is Revachol.
When was this?
God, I don't know. 6 years ago, she was way before
That's
my
a
time.
while, Harry.
6 years and you haven't gotten over it.
Yeah, thank you, Volition. 6 years? Oh, 6 years is not that much. It couldn't have been 6. 3. Let's go with 3. 6
Yeah.
years.
Or 7. You're not doing too good there. It's an old man thing. 2 old years equals 1 normal year. That and Dora Engelund really tore you a new one. A big one.
Who was she?
Incredibly bangable.
Figures.
Extremely fuckable, Harry.
Oh my God, Jean.
Gorgeous bourgeois woman.
Oh my God.
Wayfish. Like a Welkin, basically.
Like a Welkin?
Snow Welkin. Blonde Welkin. Heartbreak Welkin. Pain Welkin.
Oh my God.
I've only seen a picture.
I was waiting for the
Obviously
yellow
found a
Motrix
real
trees to
spiritual
come up
connection
too.
with how pretty she was. One you never recuperated from.
Look, the sun is about to go down. It's time to go on.
Babes, it's 1 in the morning.
I think she taught in the Académie des Arts, east of the river. Way east. Hard to say which came first, the middle-class chick or the drink. Egg and the chicken kind of thing.
That's a really good
My
line.
point is, you need to see a psychiatrist about this shit. Not a psychologist. Several degrees harder. Is there something harder than a
The
psychiatrist?
only
A
the
forensic
primary difference between a
psychiatrist?
psychologist and
Good
psychiatrist is
Dr.
one
Bad.
prescribes you drugs.
In other words, he's heard enough about this.
All right, am I a dirty cop working for La Puta Madre?
No,
Because the suspects
you're
think.
too unstable to work for a mob boss. You're suicidal, Harry. No mob boss would take
That's
you.
I
true.
assure you, I wouldn't consult for a corrupt unit.
He would immediately backpedal out of it. I told you it's not that bad.
Precinct 41, what kind of station is
Us?
that?
We're the bloody murder station, haven't you heard? With the bad guys. No one likes us.
That's not true. Jamrock is too big for one precinct. You are just understaffed, and everyone respects the 41st. You have Captain Price.
Thank you, Lieutenant. You're being kind. It is an understaffed station and the district is too big, which is why we need to...
Tilts his head
Get
northward.
back to it. We left Torsen and McLean to run the sea wing. It's not good.
Torsen and
Mac
McLean.
the Torso Torsen and Chester McLean. They're not fit to run a wing. Believe me. Things are shaky as it is.
They are damn iconic, though. Torsen and McLean.
An iconic duo, I take
Yeah,
it.
not like us. Two clinically depressed old men.
Huh.
Where's the contrast here? We are garbage.
And the sea wing
God.
is.
There are 4 wings, Harry. A, B, C, and D. We're in C. It's made of losers and clock punchers. You and I reconceptualized it as a task force. It was a mistake.
There's also a lot of outside help involved, not only me. Other losers too.
Oh my god, I love these guys. And
Ptolemy
prices.
Price? He's the son of the old Price, one of the founders of the RCM.
He's one of the most highly regarded men in the force. You're lucky.
Somewhere under the curved roof of a former silk factory, shaped like a ladybird with 2 chimneys, Police Captain Ptolemy Price sits behind a heavy wooden desk. Resident medic Nix Gottlieb pours him coffee. It's silent in the captain's office. They speak of change, the city, the tension on the streets. They speak of the events of April and the blood on the streets in May.
God, I really like a spirit decor too. Did we recently shoot up a church by chance?
So he remembers that. Yes, there may have been a raid on some churches. It wasn't good press.
Shooting up churches never is. I was out of town, to be clear.
What happened? Why do we need to do that?
Our enemies were hiding in a church, to the best of our information. That's it. I'm not talking about this anymore. Your security clearance is shit here right now. You have to wait for it to go up.
He means it. The RCM and its enemies will not be discussed on this coast. Your clearance will not go up while you're within earshot of the Union headquarters.
That's okay, yeah. So I work in the Bloody Murder Station.
Okay. It's not the bloody murder station. It's an old converted silk mill with green desk lamps and a coffee corner. A lot of good people work there, hard, every day.
Jamrock is the largest ghetto in Rivershore. Faubourg, technically, but it's divided into 11 districts. Jamrock only has us.
The press will blow over. Jamrock is lucky to have you, and it's often considered to be the greatest of the districts. You're lucky to have it.
Says in a reassuring
Thank you
tone.
again, Lieutenant.
The Phasmid, I need to tell Lena about it ASAP.
Who is Lena?
She lives at 1113 Tabernacle Road in
A cryp-
Jamrock.
A cryptozoologist. She lives in Jamrock on Tabernacle Road. She told me about the Phasmid.
Tabernacle? It's on the way over. Near where you live, on Perdition.
She looks like a Camaro.
Fine, if we're gonna drop you off anyway.
She and her husband were conducting the search for the Phasmid.
Aw,
It's
hey,
their
Toasty.
discovery, in part. They should know as soon as possible. It would do you good to deliver some positive news for a change.
Watch out, or she'll faint.
Lieutenant Kitsuragi, what will you do now?
Well, first I will go back to my station and write the most detailed report anyone has ever seen. It will have to be good. To
End of
cover
Hot
all
Fuzz.
this. Then I will have a serious talk with my captain.
About what?
Detective, we just stopped a small-scale war. Something is happening to Revachol.
He takes a look around into the deepening shadows of the street and then pulls up his
I
collar.
don't know what yet, but it's going to be a hard spring for the RCM. We need to get ready, infiltrate, investigate.
Distant traffic. A scrap of newspaper drifts by, carried by the wind. It says, tensions rise in Terminal YC in light of the Debardeurs strike in Terminal B, among representatives of every industry in Coal City.
You want to do that in Station 41?
Talk to Captain Price? I'd rather not ruffle the feathers of two captains with my doom-mongering.
No, I meant investigate. Come work at Precinct 41.
Work with Price? I'm flattered, but I don't know if I...
A crooked smile quivers on his
Will
lips.
fit in, and crazy enough, can take the stress. He doesn't know how to finish the sentence. This truly came as a surprise to him. Not a bad one, but he's at a loss.
Flattered? You're Lieutenant Kitsuragi. We would be flattered if you even considered.
I would have to tie things up in GRIH first. But, I mean, whatever is coming, Jamrock will be more central to it than the harbor.
Lieutenant turns very serious all of a
And
sudden.
we also have a huge caseload, Lieutenant. Piles that we need to get back to. Mountains, even.
I do like the sound of...
Ah! Woo! Okay, give me 1 second, because all the cats just came in here and are being assholes. Get out of the trash! Get over here! No, get! Literally the last second of the game.
He's really considering it.
Oh my god! Okay, we got Kim! Okay. Okay, I want to see how much time we have left. 7 minutes. Wow. God damn. I'm ready.
Good.
She looks at you and then Vic Mayer.
Fuck it, let's go. Trump brought his motor carriage. It's a 20-minute drive to Jamrock.
Under the night sky, the great district sleeps. A black chessboard of old wooden houses. 80,000 living souls inside. Fire traps as far as the eye can see. From Main Street to Precinct 41, atop the motorway, to Boogie Street, forking into the darkened horizon. You close your eyes and hear the dogs bark. A lone woman sits by a factory window, dreaming of meteorite strikes. On Rue de Saint-Jérôme, A square bullet slides into a square-shaped chamber. In Old South, a man without eyelids smiles. Spring has come. It's time.
That's the square bullet murders, which if they're doing during spring, I'm convinced that they're doing it with a gun that shoots ice cubes.
Dawson? Yes. McLean? Yes. Hiddleston? No. Vicmere? Yes. Dubois? Of course. Really? Nick Gottlieb looks up from the list. I hear he's unstable. You say that like it's a bad thing. Captain Potomac Price gestures with a ballpoint pen. It's dim in his office, and the curtains are drawn. Harry's our man. He'll pull through. When he does, he'll side with the people. Understood. Gottlieb returns to the list. Minnow? Of course.
Wonderful. Then can we please just go back to Jamrock now?
Wow, it is very fitting for that to come at the very end. I don't even think we get to see it because this is the end of the end. Yeah! That piano is also really fucking good. Ah. Music reminds me of the Guy Ritchie Sherlock Holmes soundtrack. Oh, thank you everybody for sticking around to the end of Disco Elysium. That was really good. Oh, it's so cool to see how different that is every playthrough. Because that was very, very different for me for when because I did Inland Empire as my tag skill for my first playthrough and went with you have a completely different interaction with everybody if you don't go through the tribunal quite the same. And also I didn't drink or do drugs or do anything like that at all because I was just like, I don't know, I felt like I was gonna get yelled at way more. That was incredible. It's incredible too, just because we've been doing this for 2 to 3 hour stints for a couple weeks now. So that's 30 to 40 hours. And that means you're basically you're listening to an audiobook. It's 1,000,000 words, for fuck's sake. And there's still so much that we didn't see in the course of this. And I know that I'm gonna end up picking this up and playing it again. Just to do a playthrough where I tag Volition or I tag a Spirit of Core and kind of play it as a straight cop. But no, it's such an interesting thing, and I was talking to Colin about this earlier when we were cooking, of just how interesting I find it that this game's development has such a troubled thing now. How all of the original creators have kind of split. There's a billion different spiritual successors now. And like I think it was Carlack's voice actress from Baldur's Gate. She was saying like, if you're reaching out to me about being in your Disco Elysium spiritual successor, unless you have the original creator, I think it's Robert Kravitz, in it, I don't want to hear or talk to you because it's not part of it. And so it ends up having this almost like, I think they literally say it in the game of Memento Mori, of a Memento Mori effect of like, I'm glad that they can suck it dry. To the extent that Joyce's line of like even that which is critical of capital will end up going to the point where it validates it, and that's what's going to probably happen when we have a Disco Elysium Amazon TV show. Like, oh my god, I love when your tag for your cast is just piss centered. Racist lorry driver. Like, no, that's incredible. I really think the ending of this is such an interesting game. I mean, it's like the approaching Ruby and the Tribunal, both of which are like the point of no return and the plot climax by far. lasts hours. I mean, like, how long have we been going today? Yeah, it's like 3 hours. This has been a 3-hour-long denouement for us to get to this. Because it was an hour and 20 minutes of us talking to the deserter, and the deserter doesn't even, like, you get a few Shivers lines, or like a few inland lines that are kind of implying the islet is there, and the islet has potentially someone there. Though there are a lot of Shivers lines that come up that I find it hard to tell if Revachal's voice is the Phasmid or the things that sound like the talking about the murderer or talking about the Phasmid. So it ends up being this interesting thing of like, you wouldn't really have any actual reason to think that there's going to be another person, which of course in these kinds of things it is, but it's also very rare for it's like the rules of a mystery. One of them is like, you can't have the murderer just be someone who's out of nowhere that you haven't seen. And this game makes a point, I feel, of subverting all of the rules of a good mystery. Like, one of the rules of the mystery is, I'll have to see what the rules list was. I know that one of them is like, you can't have your detective or your protagonist, your Cooper, your Mulder, all those, like, have insight from sources that are completely out of nowhere, that aren't tied to anything that the audience has been shown. But that's literally what Inland Empire is. But then also at the same time, the Inland Empire is sometimes just giving you advice that is complete lies or the wrong thing. It is an absolutely incredible game. It's such a showcase in writing, I feel. Like, it is. I can't wait to play it again. Like, that's also the thing. It's also a gameplay where there's very little gameplay. Obviously, it's just words. Virgil, Texas is the name of the smoker on the balcony's voice actor. Yeah, that is very fitting, actually. Kind of shocked by the localization, like, extent here. That's kind of amazing. Disco Waldo? I'm also so glad they went with the name Disco Elysium instead of No Truce for the Furies. Because I love that name and that poem, but Disco Elysium is the name of the game. It's the name of the game so much that I wonder if people don't even think about the Disco Inferno connection until Disco Inferno is said in the song on the boat on the way to the island. It's also just so many, like, your ledger that you find reminds me so much of Rust from True Detective, or Matthew McConaughey's character from True Detective. The dude who's like, I don't sleep, I dream, like those kinds of lines, and counter to the straight man. Your ledger is like Rust. Rust has a ledger like that. And it got me thinking about all of those types of fictional detectives, especially when I'm listening to people play Deadly Premonition right now. And that it works way too well for you to have a character that is true detective, but at the same time, like, all of the insanity ends up, for the most part, having very mundane solutions until the moment of the Phasmid. Like, there's almost always a mundane explanation for everything, up to the extent that you're not someone who has the, like, your wife died, or your wife had a tragedy, your wife was a victim because you're chasing after... I'm thinking of the beginning of Face Off, like, those kinds of backgrounds, and it makes you think, is that what's going on with Harry? Is like Dora dead at the bottom of a lake or something? And this, especially the conflation between her and Dolores Day, especially because it points out that Dolores Day was in a wedding dress at the end. You kept trying to call her your wife, and instead she left, and you find out that she wasn't even married to you. But that's the thing, is like, it could have been these dead wife, dead family, blah 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 backstories, and then you find out instead relationships end for a completely normal reason, and you've ended up making the pain infinitely worse by nonstop thinking about it, which is painfully normal. It's incredible. Like, the dude pulled the trigger because he was jealous about a girl getting banged. Like, and he was angry at the idea of someone who just did something objectively bad is getting pleasure. It's incredible. Elysium is the Greek word, not the Norse one. The cyclical thing doesn't work. Ah, yeah. Well, there's another thing about Elysium that kept coming to mind. I think I'm thinking of the movie Elysium, not yeah, for higher commentary. Well, I guess if you want to think about higher commentary, the movie Elysium does actually have. Sorry. I'll stop. I have to find something to talk over the credits, right? It's also that that is something that you can keep saying is that you're in hell is up the page by commentary. No, it's the Elysium is part of hell, even if it is the best part of it. And I love that you could say that. That's one of the things that you can say to Dora is you left me in hell. I mean, there's so many religions that the basis of which is just that life is suffering. You have to figure out what you're going to do about that. No, this also is so validating because I feel like Shivers is one of Shiver. It's so interesting to see how different this goes if you are doing Shivers over Inland. And it made me feel like in my first playthrough, ended up coming across a lot more sympathetic to Dora at that final conversation. Like, I think because the way that my Harry was just a stress relief dog named Ziggy. Oh. The thing with Dora is that you end up coming a little bit more like... I end up feeling more sympathetic to her because you sounded insane. Like... And what you're talking about just comes out of nowhere. Whereas I feel like Shivers is... That's interesting. Shivers, I ended up feeling frustrated because there was that... Oh... Why is that getting to me really hard? Oh my god, and that was right before the pandemic. Shit, I might need to add that to my jacket. Holy shit, this was good. You know what's a really interesting point and why I sat through all of the credit? This is the opening menu that is every time you play Disco Elysium. That is a POV shot. More specifically, this is from the eyes of the deserter, which I'm trying to see where Clause's room is. It would have to be that white rectangle that's like underneath the like there's the orange billboard and then there's the shipping yard. Because that would be where the Joyce boat is the right there. But yeah, this is where he would take the shot. No, because the Whirling in Rags is slightly past the statue. So it has to be that like white box, like right behind the statue. But yeah. That is straight up telling you where the killer is. It's one of my favorite details that I found out recently. Holy shit, y'all. Thank y'all for sticking around for 30 hours of Disco Elysium. We're gonna play something violent tomorrow. So, 13 years of my relationship in my life, I have been joking about finishing Dishonored because I want to platinum it. But I am a big old baby, and it's also really hard to do a platinum run of a game where you can't be detected or you can't kill people. And then the whole mechanic is that you gotta kill people. So I got bored and sick, and I decided I'm just gonna do this right now. And I ended up playing through all of Dishonored in like a night. It was kind of rad, actually. And then I realized at the end of it, there's been so much of this game that I've played with dark vision on that I haven't actually seen the color of the maps or know where anything is, like in a more actual beautiful way. I've just been seeing things in like sepia tone and playing them super objective focused. So I ended up looking at the list of trophies I need for Dishonored, and I have one, and the one I need is play the game without upgrading anything, which means that I can't do that. But it also means that we can play it where I can't reload things because we don't have a reason to. I don't have to like pay attention to any of that, but I have to live out my mistakes, which makes it funnier. but then I also have to pay attention to everything because we can't use any of the cool powers. So I thought that would actually be a really cool way of doing a Let's Play, and also mean that at the end of it, we platinum it, which is something I've wanted to do for literally 13 fucking years, which sounds so stupid. And I'm oddly excited for it, because I think it'll actually go pretty fast. I think we can do it like we can do it over the weekend. So I'm really looking forward to that, and then when we're done with it, we'll get back to Slay the Princess, I think. I kind of like the plan of doing like one violent game and then story game and then violent game so that I can balance it all out and all that shit. But, you know, keep the violent tendencies, you know, a little bit. But, yeah. Well, y'all have a great night. I'll check in with y'all tomorrow.